Hi there, welcome to this little video. This little video has come about due to a friend of mine asking me if I could perhaps help him in creating a counter melody to a melody of a track that he's got at the moment that he's working on. Now, luckily enough at this moment in time I happen to be studying something called Counterpoint, and I thought that maybe it would be a good idea to make a video and show him some of these counterpoint methods. Specifically the parallel, similar, oblique and contrary counterpoint methods. Now this is very basic. I don't really know that much about it myself, but what this is very theory based in how to create a counter melody. Up until now this is not the way I would do it. Normally I would just mess with the melody itself, remove notes, flip notes upside down, which actually, whilst learning Counterpoint, I actually realised that I was actually doing counterpoint without actually knowing I was doing it. But anyway, I'm not going to get too complicated with this. Basically what I've got is, this is the track here. This is the melody. This is the MIDI of that melody, which I've got assigned to another synth. Now what I'm going to do is use this to create my different melodies. And what I'll do is I'll just pop that up an octave. In fact, what I'll do first is I'll just duplicate that back to there, and then I'll pop this up an octave simply so I can see both at the same time. Right, so what's a parallel counterpoint? Well, it's basically just running every note. So these are the notes in the lead. It's basically just running the notes exactly the same, but maybe an octave up or an octave down, and obviously a different sound. So as you can see there, the notes are basically exactly the same except they're an octave up. Now it's very effective, however pretty boring. And if I've got it like a different, let me just see what June that's using. Right, that's using 1. So this is, if this using June 2. So now you're obviously, you can make it more interesting by having different sounds. But again, after a while it's going to be pretty boring. So what you've got next in this specific counterpoint methods is a thing called similar counterpoint. So a similar motion is exactly as it sounds. It's similar but not the same. So for instance here, we'll leave the root note, or we'll call this the root note because it's the first note, just so we can see it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a sixth, this note. So we could maybe just make that a third. This one's a fifth, so we could maybe make that a sixth. This one's a sixth, so we could maybe make that a fifth. This one a sixth. This one, sorry, that one a third. That one a third. That one, and so on and so forth. So using the same note intervals but changing them, changing their pitch basically. And of course I bet you without even knowing it you've done this loads of times. I have anyway. I know that I've been messing around and just come up with these very similar ideas to this. I didn't know it was counterpoint. I know it was counterpoint now after studying it for a little bit. So now you've got, it's again still using the same intervals, but it will sound much different. And again you get different results with the different types of sounds you use. So you can hear it's very different, very different. So I just undo all of that. And then oblique's a weird one. I've done this as well, but mainly with bass. And basically what oblique means is these notes are all the same. So we'll use this as the root. Could simply, again, just because it's the first, I'm just going to move all of these notes up to the root note. Now, you'll be looking at this saying, God, that's terribly boring. And it looks terribly boring, but wow, does it make you hear a real difference. A real difference. So again, it's the same interval, but they're all on the same note. So remember, these are just ideas, yeah? And the last one is contrary, and it's exactly what you would expect it to be. It's exactly the opposite. And this is probably the one that will make your counter melody sound, well, unique to the melody, even though, again, we're just using the same intervals. It can get more complicated. You can change the intervals and stuff. So for instance, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's a 6 down. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's a fifth. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So up to there. Up to there. So as you can see, really 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So all of these sixes will go up to there. 1, 2, 3. All of these fives will go up to there. These ones or twos, seconds will go to there, and these thirds will go to there. So now what you have is the exact opposite. So, and by that, I'll just make sure you know what that I mean by that. As you can see here, the notes go down a sixth, down a fifth. Here they go up a sixth, up a fifth. So let's hear what that sounds like. So there you have it. That's using Counterpoint to, don't get me wrong, it's very basic Counterpoint. And I'm sure people who are classically trained and stuff will know much more than me, but I'm not. And I'm just learning this stuff at the moment, and I thought it would just be something cool to see. Now, what would I do if it was just me and I hadn't been learning this stuff? Normally what I would do is, first thing I would do is put that up an octave so I can see them both at the same time. And if it was me, I would, all kinds of things I would do. I would maybe mute a couple, or I would maybe turn that into 2. Maybe mute a couple more. And obviously change ones into ones into a long one, twos, all kinds of stuff. I would have probably maybe have used the old octave jump, so maybe put that up an octave, Maybe that up an octave. That up an octave. That up an octave. Just that's what I would do before I knew any of this stuff. That's how I would have got my melodies. So of course, the final thing I would have done, now this really does depend on how I'm feeling, because I'm not really a keyboard player, but I do like to play stuff in. So I would have went C, D, so we've got a C sharp, a D, so if I go down, so I've got C sharp, E, E, F, right, I would have figured out the notes that I could play just to stay in the key. I would have found the sound I like and I would have just played it in. Need a better sound first, really. That just doesn't go with this, does it? Right, let's use that. There we go. So I've got my notes. I would probably put on the kick and bass. That's what I would have done. So I would have messed around with it in the more kind of technical way of just going in and moving, or non-creative way, or I would have played something in. So I hope this kind of helps you out. I hope it helps out my mate as well. But yeah, it's just a way of getting counter melodies, really. Hope you enjoyed the video. See you soon. Ta-ra.